Hello again. Not so long ago, politicians in Britain would sometimes appeal to the Dunkirk spirit. This would be pretty hopeless these days, as the majority of the population would have only the haziest idea of what happened at Dunkirk. Certainly the reference would be altogether lost on the millions of people now living in Britain who were born abroad. Even young people no longer learn about the evacuation of Dunkirk at school, and soon the last members of the generation who lived through those days will have died. It's just one more instance of the way in which what were once defining and unifying themes in British consciousness have been allowed to fade away. Trafalgar Day was, until a few decades ago, at least noticed, and within living memory every schoolchild would have been able to tell you the year of the Battle of Waterloo. But all this has sunk without a trace as well. Anybody talking about small boats or little ships crossing the English Channel 20 or 30 years ago would at once have thought of the vessels which travelled from the Kent port of Ramsgate in 1940 to rescue the British Army from the beaches of Dunkirk. It was an heroic episode which for a long time was thought to typify the English character, the Dunkirk spirit. Anybody hearing today about small boats crossing the Channel will at once think of something quite different, namely the thousands of illegal immigrants who are making their way to Britain from those same beaches from which the British Army was rescued in 1940. We have become so used to this quiet and slow invasion that it hardly even registers anymore. Just to show how we have come to accept what is really an extraordinary and wholly undesirable situation, I give a link in the description to this video to a news item from last month. On August the 5th, it was announced that a record number of illegal immigrants had reached England by crossing the Channel. Imagine 482 in one single day. We gasped, we were amazed and expected somebody to do something about it. The Home Secretary perhaps? Then we promptly lost interest and forgot all about it. Now, less than 2 months later, that record, an astonishingly high number of people, has become routine. Not only has no effort been made to reduce it, but the numbers have risen steadily and become accepted. On Sunday, 669 people crossed the Channel like this, an increase of getting on for 50% on that record number in August. But of course we're not really interested anymore, assuming perhaps that the authorities will take action at some point. Those small boats are not going to stop. The numbers will instead increase. Almost all those 669 people who arrived on Sunday were individuals. Put bluntly, this means we shall have to build more than 600 new homes to accommodate them. We will have to build 500, 600 or 1,000 new homes every single day for the foreseeable future just to house this one stream of immigrants who have no right at all to be in Britain. Why do I say they have no right to be in Britain? Well, in the first 6 months of this year, the Home Office issued more than 4,500 notices of intent to people who had crossed the Channel in this way, indicating that their claims for asylum were invalid because they should have sought asylum in one of the safe European countries through which they had already passed. How many of these people have been deported? None at all, of course. When viewers are fuming about the latest housing plan to build over green spaces near them, they might reflect that this would not be necessary if the population increase in Britain were due to natural processes, as it used to be, that is to say the number born compared to the number who die. This was the case in this country for 1,000 years. We have become accustomed to a thoroughly weird state of affairs, and we now regard it as normal.